Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of CA Ki Kahani, CA Ki Zubani. CA यानी कि फाइनेंशियल पर्सन, एक फाइनेंशियल नंबर्स वाला पर्सन, लेकिन उसकी हर एक की कहानी बहुत डिफरेंट होती है. हर बंदा वही सेम जर्नी नहीं फेस करता. हर एक अपनी खुद की एक जर्नी बनाते हैं. आज के हमारे इस एपिसोड में हमारे साथ एक फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर के ही सीए हैं. आज हमारे साथ हैं राघव अयंगर, द CEO of 361 AMC. Raghav is actually a 1994 chartered accountant, and he's seen the change and the phases of life not only as a chartered accountant or a student, but also in his own journey in the corporate world. So, welcome Raghav to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for actually sparing that time and sharing about your own CA journey. So
I hope your audience finds this useful. My story is very boring, but yeah, let's try and make it interesting.
No, thanks. I think my own take on this is that every CA's journey, it definitely has something inspiring because somebody else is definitely facing that during their journey. So Raghav, my first question is, why did you become a CA?
We are three of us, and we are a family. We are three. I'm the eldest, and I have two younger siblings with me. My father, in his wisdom, decided that one person should do finance, one person should do medicine, and the third person should be an engineer.
Okay.
And so I was selected to do the finance bit, and I must compliment him because I think he quietly steered me into this direction without me realizing it.
Okay.
So yes, in some sense he was not, and by the way, he's not a CA. He's an engineer. A very successful one.
Okay. So I think he saw those traits within you, and that's why he kind of
I have no idea. I have no idea. I keep asking him, and he says, "I also forgot." He's obviously a bit old today, but I think he remembers that we to be a good chartered accountant, you have to like numbers. And I think I always was pretty okay with mental maths, tables and quick multiplication, and that stuff really fascinated me. The other thing was I was always a very good reader. I used to, the easiest way to keep you quiet, my parents used to chup karne ke liye when I was a little child. The easiest thing to do was give me a comic book, and then I'll sit in my corner and I'll forget about the world. So those two traits, I think somewhere my father realized that, hey, numbers plus obviously ability to read, which is very, very important especially to pass and get through your CA exams. I think he put me in that direction. Okay. But yeah, it was a tough journey. It was not an easy journey. It was not a cool journey. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go on to the next one, wherein I just want to understand the same thing. Okay, so you decided, or you were asked to do CA, and that's how you got into CA. But आपने CA कहाँ से करी? And आपका articleship या आपकी CA journey, were you a first attempter? How was your?
No. So no. So Ruchi, वो एक interesting कहानी है. I did my education in Bombay up to graduation.
Okay.
तो उस जमाने में there was no ability to do your graduation and your CPT together. You had to graduate and then or take the CA foundation exam and then be starting your article. So it was actually 21 plus whatever. I mean, then the number of years. I am a Bombay boy, so I did my schooling, college, everything here. But my parents were building a house in Chennai those days, and this is early 90s. So then I was asked to go there and do my articleship and also oversee ये घर बनने का जो होता है भाई. That's how. So I went to Bangalore and I had a choice of firms. But one of my uncles, my dad's brother-in-law, he suggested this very, very good company called J. Srinivasan. They are yet around today. I mean, it's a family-run concern and it's proprietorship. And of course, those days we had three partners, lovely set of people, and a big-sized company. उनका एक ही एडवांटेज, ओके, ब्रांड नहीं था. इट वाज ऑब्वियसली नॉट अ प्राइस वाटर हाउस और उस टाइप पे प्राइस वाटर हाउस नहीं था. इट यूज्ड टू बी
Ferguson, Arthur
Anderson, those type of, obviously they were the big brands. But the good thing was that I managed to see massive amount of variation in my work. तो एक दिन मैं sole proprietor का accounts कर रहा हूँ, दूसरे दिन मैं I'm doing some internal audit of a limited company, तीसरे दिन कोई partnership firm का tax return भर रहा हूँ. So it was completely, it was literally like, what are you doing? अच्छा ये ले लीजिए, ये काम कर दो.
And variety experience.
Variety, and more importantly, more than the numbers, Ruchi, the ability to deal with people. When I think back, I think that was very interesting because जो sole proprietor का नजरिया वो बिल्कुल अलग है. जो limited company है, of course, things are much more easier today because of computerization. उस time पे everything, a lot of it was on paper, pen, ledgers, etc. So you had to do a lot of manual work.
Right.
And then, of course, because it was a nice small company, everybody knew everybody. Sanitha, there were many hundreds of chartered accountants and all. It was a very small firm, and we used to go out quite often together. So you get to meet everybody. So I mean, the person in my life who was most important to me in the finalization stage was the guy who used to type out the accounts. तो उसमें से क्या होता है then the advantage is then you don't see people for designation. ये पार्टनर है तो उसको सलाम करो, ये तो टाइपिस्ट है या स्टेनोग्राफर है तो ये छोटा आदमी है बड़ा, बिकॉज भाई एक तो छोटा ऑफिस था, यू कुड नॉट अफोर्ड टू डू दैट. Number two is that everyone is important in their own way. That was a challenge. And of course the usual problem in any company, but छोटे कंपनी में और भी तकलीफ होता है, which is getting leave for studies. मेरे जो फ्रेंड्स होते थे एसबी पिलमोरिया एंड ऑल दैट, दे हैड अ वेरी नाइस कैलेंडर, इतना टाइम तक काम करो एंड देन टेक 3 months ऑफ और 2 months ऑफ डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट यू आर डूइंग. इफ यू आर गिविंग बोथ ग्रुप्स तो 3 महीने ले लो, एक ग्रुप ले रहे हो, सो दे हैड वेरी क्लियर मतलब प्रोसेस था, मतलब नो प्रॉब्लम. हमारे में वो प्रॉब्लम था दैट आई नेवर न्यू आई वाज ऑन लीव टिल आई वाज ऑन लीव. Because I would apply for leave, obviously it will be granted. वहाँ पे तकलीफ नहीं था, but then obviously work will keep coming. That was a bit of a difficulty, but I think the interesting thing that I learned in CA also, Ruchi, is especially I was not a first attempter. I cleared my CA in the second attempt. So I think what I realized एक चीज क्या यार, आज का काम आज खत्म करो. And finish off. So that daily routine I never had. When you're doing BCom, you don't have that routine. At least मेरे पास तो नहीं था. I think CA में आके you have to put a little bit of studies every day, because ये हमारा छुट्टी का problem था. So I have given, in fact, when I passed my exam, I did it with about 35 days of leave. I remember I asked for 2 months, but I got 35 days. And if I had not studied daily, वो बहुत मुश्किल था, because the syllabus is very vast. I mean, CA is a beautiful course, क्योंकि you're really an in-depth guy into जो आप सीखते हो, you really get into depth.
Agreed. So you said you cleared your CA in second attempt. So that's the final, and was your inter in one attempt? Or?
Yeah, no. Same. Two. I'm consistent. When I passed out, even in those days also, obviously the CA exam has always been a tough exam. It continues to be a tough exam even today. So that hasn't changed, right? Anybody I speak to, but CA ka full form in my coaching institute where I used to do a little bit of work used to be come again. And then there used to be this very cute cross outside the CA Institute in Chennai. It's yet there, by the way. And there's a nice saying there which says that Jesus never fails. So I think some poor guy who didn't get through had written in the bottom, like, please ask him to do CA. So that's how the course has always been tough, Ruchi. So it's not been
So was that like a frustration? Did you actually feel ki why am I actually stuck, or was that you took it?
No, it was so the good thing I did was during my graduation I also was doing my ICW. So somewhere in that 2-3 years in that articleship period I managed to finish that off.
Okay.
So एक तो comfort था, Ruchi, that I have one professional qualification in my pocket. And I'm not only a graduate, because today there are opportunities for graduates, but in those days if you really wanted to take your career ahead, you had to have some professional qualification. In those days the challenge was that every attempt you fail was actually taking you ahead of your so-called settlement, because अरे यार there is family pressure, अरे ये 25 है, अभी तक internship कर रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, CA is a difficult course, maybe कब कमाएगा, when will he go out, and I had just about enough money to run my two-wheeler, nothing more. I mean, luckily my father gave me a house and gave me food to eat, otherwise I would have been in serious trouble, But having said that, when I look back now, I think it was a good thing, because it teaches you a bit of humility. And it allows you to deal with failure, because that's going to come to you at any point of time in life.
So
the popular word है resilience. You have to be resilient. So somewhere the CA course teaches you to be resilient.
And so Raghav, you did your chartered accountancy. You got qualified. So did you start your job only after qualification, or did you start before that? Or how was your first job?
I had a great boss, right? And I told you I didn't clear my finals in first attempts. I finished one. I had one left, one group. And he was very clear to me, Ruchi. He said, जब तक आप CA completely खत्म नहीं करोगे, आप full time job नहीं करोगे.
Okay.
And rationale was very simple. He said there is nothing like a 3/4 CA. You are either a CA or you're not a CA. And he said the day you get into a job, you will get into difficulty. One, so money will start coming in. Your motivation to pass will reduce. Say, compared to the stipend I was making, one big motivation Ruchi was CA pass ho jayega, so I will graduate and make much and hopefully be independent, etc. Right? But once you get a job, you're more or less 50% of that journey. And as time elapses, aapka wo unfortunately you will not complete. And it's not that you take a 2-year break, you come back as a. So I was lucky. He got me a very good assignment, which was sort of a 50-50 thing. I was not getting a stipend. I was making, let's say, 50% of what a freshly qualified CA would have been.
Okay.
A very brief, intense assignment. Lovely people to work with. Kanoria family, very, very old business school. I learned a lot of things practically from them. More than the assignment, I think I learned a lot personally, and it also allowed. And it was a very timely project thing. It was 90 days, so we had to finish something in a particular period. And then I got my but unfortunately, like everything else, that also extended. So, but I managed to get a good 45-day period to then study for the last group, and then I cleared.
Okay. And Raghav, as I see your career, from a job perspective, you've always been into banking, financial. You work with ICICI Prudential. You'd work with DSP.
I've been more a mutual funds guy, Ruchi. I've been very much a mutual funds guy. So that's been one of my 35 years of all that I've worked, including my articleship. It's been mutual funds would be practically 27 on that.
Right. So, mutual funds, when we say, are basically the investment bankers, fund managers, and all of that kind of a role. And that's something which, I think everybody kind of eyes or feels happy to kind of get. So how did you get your entry into this kind of a profile?
No, I was very clear. I was very poor at managing my money. I realized that very early on in life. And I lost some money, obviously. That's when I realized that maybe I'm not cut out to be a fund manager. I think I'm more happy to be a business manager. I mean, I like to look at funds. Obviously, it's an exciting part of our life, but I'm not cut out to do it on a, say, 16-hour basis on a daily basis. So yes, can I understand a balance sheet? Of course. Can I understand the notes to accounts? Of course. That's where CA really helps you, because it's been whatever 30 years, but that knowledge stays with you, right? So, and then, but I'm more, I like running businesses. The other part of the business, there is fund management, there is operations, there's compliance, there's business development, there's risk. So I like to spend my time in the non-fund management roles, and because somebody has to do that too.
Right.
So I realized, and that was a realization that happened जब मैं CA कर रहा था. Okay. That I said, यार ये क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं, audit करके I'm finding out other people's mistakes. ये थोड़ी है जिंदगी मतलब. So I realized that maybe I was better off dealing with people in those days, because I had a certain knack of dealing with clients. Clients like me. So I said, hey, this is a good thing to do, and that's how I got into the business side of it, right? And fortunately for me, mutual funds have been a very evolving industry. So mutual fund industry था रुचि 1998 में और 2026 में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है.
Agreed. I was going to ask you the next question, which is similar, that I think you started your journey within a sector which actually boomed as you got into, because I think
no, but if somebody had asked me, and I keep getting asked this question because I think I'm one of the oldest guys around in the industry today, that how did you get in? And I said it was pure fluke. I was working for a very, very good company, and I got spotted, and I went for the interview, and I was fascinated with capital markets. I liked the whole structure of it. But in 1998, the industry was a very different industry than what it was today. It was not as customer friendly. There were some practices which were not great. There was not much transparency. I mean, when I started, we were less than 1 lakh of crores of AUM as an industry. Abhi 80 lakh ho gaya. My sense is, I won't be surprised if I see this number tripling soon. For all the work we have done, Ruchi, khali 6 crore investor hai hamare paas. So Indians are by nature worried about putting money in equity. And what I'm doing in my other...
I would like to then ask you a question that, you are a CA. which is basically a person with finance, numbers, and all of that. You had a liking for the equity markets, financial markets, all of that. But today you're in a role of a CEO, which is ideally we expect CAs to kind of be CFOs, or fund managers, investment bankers, and that's what not you are. You are actually a CEO. So was this something that you actually made your career go that way, or was this, as you said, something that just happened because of the knacks that you had, or a mix
No,
of
I think
both?
it's a combination of both, Ruchi. So I think one, you must acknowledge that the people you work with, right? I think especially my bosses obviously saw something in me and kept pushing me in a particular direction. I know children today, kids are very smart, especially the current generation. They're very crystal clear कि भाई हमको 25 में ये बनना है, 30 में ये बनना है, 40 में वो बनना है, 50 में 40 में फायर बनना है, financially independent, and then we'll figure out life, right? I don't think I was that clear. I think I was lucky to have a set of people to work with, and they molded me in their way. And then obviously I was also very flexible. That's an advantage of working in a small firm, doing all kinds of things. You become adaptable, right? And then thanks to doing CA, you become resilient. So it's a great combination to do business, because every business conversation doesn't lead to results, right? But at the same time, the person on the other side wants to talk to somebody, Ruchi, who has got some intelligence. So that CA gives you. So that combination is great. So I would say it's accidental, partially, and obviously a lot of it is also deliberate. So at some stage in your life, you realize what you're good at and what you're not great at. Maybe people like you, Ruchi, understood it much earlier. मुझे थोड़ा time लगा करने के लिए. There are days even today when I wonder what am I doing in life, but that's okay. That's normal, right? That
So
happens
what
to
are
everybody.
two or three things that you think additionally a CA should acquire to really be there at a CEO level? Because the strategy thing, which is in addition to the financial sector.
I think one is you have to have a slightly continuous hunger for learning. And I don't mean learning just going and checking what the institute is publishing, the latest competitive standards, those kind of stuff. That's very important, obviously. So, and some part of that learning, Ruchi, should be outside your field of expertise. Number one. So always have a learning mindset, and more importantly, be a bit curious about it. So don't just keep focusing on the stuff that you only have done. You need to do it, obviously. Number two is, I think you have to be a bit adaptable, because I think in today's world, frankly, very difficult to call careers right. So hence, if you're not adaptable, you will suddenly feel that, yeah, I planned for something, and if you're not able to take a U-turn or take a turn, it's important. I think that is my second one. And the third thing is, I think CAs have to get social skills. Yeah. I'm not saying CA specific. I mean CA specifically, but I think the generation today there's a lack of social skills that worries me. They're very happy texting, but they're not very thrilled about meeting. And what's our calm happens face to face. I mean, now you can do this digitally, like the way we are doing today. But I don't think we would have been able to have such a nice conversation if you were sending me a list of questions on WhatsApp, and I write back to you, and you're putting the same thing. थोड़ा अलग ही मजा है वहाँ पे. So that comes in social skills. Because social skills, the kind of things that you can learn are very different. So there is learning in an official capacity, in a normal environment, in a work environment. वो तो होता ही रहता है. But the things that you pick up when you are in a social environment are very, very different and very useful.
So Raghav, I think I got a lot of information from you. One last question which I have for you is like, today's time when we talk about the latest generation, everybody just wants to go, first attempt, take a lot of stress during their CA, or even if they're budding chartered accountants, just qualified chartered accountants, just aiming for the top and not wanting to kind of go through a struggle. So what is your message for them in terms of really whether any sector, whether it's the finance sector or any other sector, what is your message for them in terms of how should they prepare themselves?
I think the kids today are very smart in terms of goal setting. Because there's a lot of information, Ruchi, which is available. Ek time tha where you had to be in Bombay and you had to be in a certain circle to get that information, or in Delhi or in Bangalore. Aajkal wo nahi hai. I think tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 towns say we smart kids are coming up. And I think that's the beauty of the whole internet system today, that you don't need to be locationally in a place to get knowledge. I think what I would just advise is just one line, that sometimes in life you have to step down to jump up. You have to step down to jump up. So sometimes if you're not, like many kids today say that I'm a first attempt, I only want to do this, I only want a job in this company. You have to give it your best shot, 100%. But there is no certainty in life, right? So if you're not getting something in a particular period of time, fine, look at the second option, keep working hard at it and come back. Because you have to start. I think my biggest worry today is that people are not starting. They're waiting, saying that abhi मैं इसके लिए wait करता हूँ, उसके लिए wait करता हूँ. And that time is unfortunately not going to come back. Everything else you can pick up. I mean, you can do anything else with your life. You can work till 80. So I don't believe in that retirement age of 55, 60, 70. I mean, if you have great health, you're enjoying your job, you go ahead, just work. I mean, the retired means if you break it up, is nothing but tired, retired, right? So somebody is, as long as you're not tired, you keep working. Right. And if you enjoy what you're doing, you will not feel tired. So, but at the same time, that hey, if I don't get this, I'm not going to work is, my view, not a great thing to do, because after a point of time, it sort of gets mentally irritating for you. Then other things start happening. So I see that a lot with kids today. I mean, एक promotion नहीं मिल गया, they get depressed. थोड़ा somebody else got a higher increment, they get irritated. ऐसा नहीं था कि हमारे टाइम में नहीं होता. I mean, it's happened to me also. But at some point of time, you go out, you sort of laugh it off with friends, and you move on. And that's the way, because ultimately, आपका जिंदगी. There's no point in you being depressed about it, right? So that's the only thing I say. Sometimes to jump up, you have to step down, and then you get a better jump, and you go up.
No, thanks, Raghav. And I think you very rightly said, because it's more like the trampoline effect. The more you go down, I think the jump up is higher.
But if you don't get onto the trampoline, you won't jump.
You won't jump, right? No, thanks a lot, Raghav. I think it's really nice to have that discussion with you, and I'm sure people will like this interview and the discussion, because you've really very, candidly and shared about how it went. And I think one thing which I think I would also resonate, being a CA myself, the CA course has changed, but again, the way and the effort that's required has not changed. But I think the way to look at it has changed a lot, because in today's time, nobody is ready to kind of wait and give it another try rather than just feel stressed. So I think our message to all our students, viewers who are there, and again, it's not only for chartered accountancy, but for anything that you're doing, even if, failure is another stepping stone to success, as it is normally known. So I think give your best, keep trying, have your resilience, and that's going to take you to the success. So thank you, Raghav, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
And to all our viewers, we'll keep bringing you such more stories around CA Ki Kahani, CA Ki Zubani. So if you're a chartered accountant and would like to share your own journey, please message us or drop in a comment with your number and we'll reach out to you. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.